Welcome to Contemporary Retirement. Contemporary Retirement is a public interest program focused on the retirement community. Every program has segments on legal, financial, and health issues affecting the retirement community. Contemporary Retirement is sponsored in part by a major grant from the Family Heritage Trust Company.
Contemporary Retirement is sponsored by Family Heritage Trust Company. The Family Heritage Trust Company is an independent bank chartered trust company established by local professionals to provide fiduciary services, including fee-based investment advice, trust services, retirement planning, and tax planning. The Family Heritage Trust Company is committed to client service in our communities. For more information, call the Family Heritage Trust Company at 301-631-5900.
Contemporary Retirement is sponsored in part by a grant from R. Thomas Murphy & Associates, P.C. R. Thomas Murphy & Associates is one of Franklin County's leading law firms, emphasizing estate, trust, elder law, and medical assistance planning.
Welcome to the Is It Legal feature on Contemporary Retirement. Is It Legal focuses on the legal issues affecting the retirement community. With me today is Tom Murphy from the R. Thomas Murphy Law Firm with offices in Waynesboro, Chambersburg, and McConnellsburg. Welcome to the show, Tom.
Good morning.
You know, Tom, you and I practice in multiple counties. We do not practice in multiple states because even though the long-term care environment is a federal program, it's still state administered.
Absolutely. And so each state has the ability to fiddle with the rules, and they do. And so they make them very complex and different from jurisdiction to jurisdiction.
And so we also find even within our counties, we find that these rules are administered differently.
Yeah, absolutely. And from caseworker to caseworker, you have different interpretations and attitudes and all kinds of things you have to deal with.
Well, you know, part of it is that you know, people say, well, I went on the internet and I found this article that says what to do. And as I said, well, I'd love to find that article myself because right now we have not found a single blueprint on what to do in our practice area.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest questions I get is there some place I can read about this? And unfortunately I have to tell them no because it's not one particular thing and it changes constantly. So it's really frustrating for people.
I have people tell me, I'd like you to write me a letter outlining these options. I said, I don't think that's possible. And they said, well, why not? Because it's like the old kaleidoscope toy as a kid. As soon as you change one fact, the entire answer changes. And the reality is to have to write a book. And you know, you can't afford me to write a book. So in reality, we outline what we're going to do, but we have to let the client know as we're working through this process, circumstances will cause us to have to alter the plan to reflect stuff that we find out.
Yeah, there's a lot of moving parts, and it really does become an art based on, you know, all these moving facts that you have to take into account.
Well, for instance, you know, in Medicaid planning in Maryland, for a husband and wife, you can get a retroactive benefit, but there can't be any gifts in order to get that retroactive benefit. I have people every day tell me, we haven't made any gifts. And I say, well, what about the car to the grandchild? You know, what about the tuition that you paid? And there's a multitude of things that, well, I didn't really think of that as a gift, but for Medicaid purposes, it is a gift.
Absolutely. There's any number of factors like that that have to be taken into account. And it drives people mad, but it's part of the system. And so experience and expertise in the area helps us deal with those facts and bring about a good resolution.
And one of the things we tell people every day is that as soon as you have somebody in a nursing home, you need to assess what your options are, and you need to assess things that people have done that have impacted eligibility. Mm-hmm. And the reality is these nursing homes will have people wait until they're out of money, and then you'll find out that something was engaged in that is going to affect eligibility, and if you had found that out while they had money, you could have solved the problem. But by allowing them to run out of money, you just made this problem a heck of a lot harder than it needed to be.
And that's a good point, because you'll see that then leads to some of the catastrophes that you hear about. They took my house, they did this, and it's because they did not seek counsel and they ran out of options because they didn't seek counsel at the right time.
You know, as we tell people every day, and people hear us say us on this show all the time, we're not in the business to charge fees. We're in the business to add value. And you know, I had a client yesterday, and I said, I really can't help you. You know, you need to go some other lawyer who, you know, had expertise on Social Security, disability, and so forth. You know, so I just sent them. You know, it's no skin off of our backs. We're glad to talk to people and help them figure out what is in their best interest.
Right. We're passionate about that. That's what makes this line of work we're in so much fun is because we can help people, but we can't do everything, and so we send out as many people as we retain if we know what we're doing in that particular need.
But as we work with people in this process, we have to alert them there is no single answer to this. Even the fact that our offices are 10 miles apart, the rules that we're dealing with are completely different. We work with a law firm out of West Virginia and Virginia, and the answers in those two states are different than the answers that we deal with.
Yeah, exactly. And so we get you to the right place for the right person to give you the information you need to make a good decision.
And at the end of the day, it's all about the client. What's in the client's best interest?
Right.
And many times they don't want to engage a lawyer. I understand they don't want to engage a lawyer, but they need to look at the alternative. And the alternative is mindlessly paying a $10,000 to $12,000 a month nursing home bill. And you have to explore, can I do that, or should I look at some options?
That's a good point, because if you don't, the nursing home's certainly not going to refuse your check. And so you really need to know what your options are.
Tom, as always, thanks for taking time to appear on our program.
You're welcome.
More from Contemporary Retirement after these messages.
Few things in life are as important as family. Leave your insurance worries to us. Write Gardner. Call or visit our website to learn how we can make insurance simple and more affordable.
Every life that meets its end leaves a heart for love to mend. Sister, brother, family, friends are left to carry on. When the loss seems more than you can bear, it's nice to know that we'll be there at Douglas A. Fiery Funeral Home. We care.
Call Ed Lowe to help put your mind at ease.
Welcome to the Making Sense feature on Contemporary Retirement. Making Sense focuses on the financial issues affecting the retirement community. With me today is Matt Hurley from Matthew Hurley Auctions. Welcome to the show, Matt.
Thanks, Mike. Good to be here.
Matt, we talk about this all the time, and the rule number one in terms of dealing with personal property and breaking down houses, what's rule number one?
Don't throw anything away.
Don't throw anything away. But I can look at this stuff. I can tell it has no value.
I've heard that so many times, Mike, and I've picked actually $1,000 items out of the trash.
And we love having you on the show because we do this a little bit differently than some of the other shows, because there's some nationally syndicated shows that will do estimates at auction. And one of the things we like to do is you can talk about that all you want, but in reality, we like to do real live stuff.
This is stuff that's sold at auction in the local area.
So we're going to have some pictures, and Matt loves to come and prove that I don't know what the heck I'm talking about. So we have here, what's the
first item? A vintage James Bond pinball machine. So the question of the day, Mike, did it bring over or under $1,200?
Under.
It brought $1,500.
Wow.
Now, this one's just silly. A closet of light bulbs. Did it bring $25, $45, or $65 at auction?
25.
It actually brought $65. Now, in a normal auction, that would have brought $10 in a box lot.
Right.
Okay, slot cars, there's 6 of them. Did that box bring $100, $350, or $600?
350.
You got it.
All right, I'm
$350
right
for the
one
6
time.
slot cars. Okay, here we go. This is a lot of vintage G.I. Joe toys. Over or under $300?
Over.
Actually, that one brought $250, but it's not even in the original box. So that was in Grandma's attic, brought $250. I love this one. In the original box, Amico Attacking Martian Toy, that'll bring $40, $225, or $400?
40.
Actually, this one brought $225. Look at these. This is great. This is as good as it gets.
This is trash.
That's what I thought.
I can identify
Converse
trash.
Chuck Taylor All-Star sneakers in the box. Over or under $100?
Under.
Sorry. $110. Okay, pick the highest. This is History of Maryland, Atlas of Carroll County, Maryland, or Spies and Traitors and Conspirators of the Civil War.
Well, I love Civil War, so I'm going to pick that one.
Actually, it was the Illustrated Atlas of Carroll County. Brought $205. The other two brought $195 and $198.
So I wasn't too far.
You were very close. They were all within about $10
Right.
of each other. Okay, here it is. Boxes of Christmas ornaments. Did they bring $55, $125, or $200?
200.
$200. You got it. For 3 boxes of old Christmas ornaments out of the attic. $200.
Wow. You know, and you know, we'll reiterate before we start down the interview again. What's rule number 1?
Don't throw even the Converse sneakers. Don't throw them away.
Mind numbing. All right, so you know, the next thing that we deal with is in terms of you trying to help families is don't move it. What do you mean by that?
Don't move it. People try to help. They really do, and they take everything and put it in one room. That didn't help me. Leave it where it's at so I can see it, so I can photograph it where Grandma had it or the grandfather had it. Leave it in the corner cupboard. Leave it on the shelf. Leave it hang on the wall. It looks much better in your house than it does sitting in the floor in a big
You know,
pile.
we oftentimes say in our office in Frederick, we have some beautiful mirrors in there. If those mirrors hanging on the wall, you know, send a message that this is something you want hanging on your wall.
That's right.
Sitting on the side of the wall with dust collecting on it does not send the same message.
Laying in the middle of the bed doesn't look very good.
Well, and you were saying same in my guessing on the value of those light bulbs. You know, it's, if they're just thrown in a box, it brings nothing.
You know, if they're thrown in a box, it's someone's leftovers they didn't want. If it's in that closet, it looks valuable. And it showed. They brought a lot of money.
And of course, the main differential we talk about is the fact that this was done on the internet. People actually bought this stuff
All
without
this stuff
actually
was sold
looking at it.
online, on the internet. We had about 15,000 bidders on our website, and so much different than even 5 years ago.
And so I can almost guarantee that, you know, we're broadcasting out of Washington County here. That Carroll County book, if it were sold at a Washington County auction, would have probably bought nothing. But
Would
the
have
fact
brought
is
much
Carroll
less.
County people saw it and somebody wanted it.
Yeah, and you'll be surprised where the people come from because as they search the internet, they type in what they're looking for. Carroll County. It pops up. They bid on it.
Well, my wife is from Western Pennsylvania, and she buys Wember, PA postcards, and
There
you're
you
not only
go.
going to get that anywhere except on the internet
That's
and
right.
one of these types of sites. And one of the other things we tell people about is, you know, many times children look at a house, they're just overwhelmed at the thought of breaking down that parent's house.
Yeah, they just don't know where to start. And it is. It's overwhelming. It's too much to do. Let us help. We'll take that away from you. We'll help you sort it. We'll help you make the decisions, what you want to keep, what you don't want, and then we'll take it from there. And we can do a house in a few days, which would take you a few months.
Or years.
Or years.
Your phone number.
717-597-9100.
Thanks for making me look bad.
Thanks for having me.
More from Contemporary Retirement after these messages.
Tranquillity at Fredericktown Assisted Living and Memory Care provides a warm, home-like atmosphere that promotes daily life enrichment. At Tranquillity, our medical director is a geriatric physician. Our professionals support and understand the various stages associated with Alzheimer's and dementia. We have on-site physical, occupational, and speech therapists, as well as around-the-clock licensed nurses. For more information, give Tranquillity at Fredericktown a call today, because everyone deserves great care. Let us do the caregiving so you and your loved one can embrace life again.
Dad, there's the big one. There's the big one. Just wait.
There's the monster.
Just one more bid on hurleyauctions.com.
I got it.
If you haven't visited hurleyauctions.com, you don't know what you're missing. Whether you're buying or selling, antique cars, tractors, boats, or real estate, you can do it all at hurleyauctions.com.
Get to know Dr. Carrie Hesley at Diagnostic Imaging Services.
What I find most rewarding is caring for women through our Women's Imaging Center. We have a caring staff that will ease patients through an ultrasound, bone densitometry, breast biopsy, or mammogram. Our health team is sensitive to emotions involved in women's imaging and understands that every woman is at risk for breast cancer. Providing the community with a center that is so dedicated to breast health and the imaging needs of women is something special.
DIS Women's Imaging Center, providing women with progressive care.
Welcome to Contemporary Health Scene. Contemporary Health Scene focuses on the health issues affecting the retirement community. With me today is Bridget Keefe, Marketing Director, Tranquillity of Fredericktown. Welcome to the show, Bridget.
Thanks for having me, Mike.
You know, Bridget, one of the great struggles that I have, and I know you encounter it too, but I have people come into my office of family members beginning to experience difficulties living independent, and the automatic assumption is they need to go to a nursing home.
Yeah, I see it every day. People don't understand that there's an alternative, a better model available. They don't know about it.
And so the assumption is, and this is particularly true because 25 years ago, assisted living was essentially no different a service model than it was in somebody's home. And so if you could manage them at home, they might not be able to be managed in assisted living, but that's just simply not the case today.
It's not the case at all. And so many times I have families come in, I promised my mother I would never throw her in a home, and I always have to tell them, you're not. You're avoiding that by coming to us.
And oftentimes people think that it means a loss of independence.
Exactly, but the whole point of assisted living is to help someone when they need help, yet allow them to live as independently as possible.
And so it's not an interference. It doesn't require that you, for instance, give up your happy hour or places you can smoke. You don't have to give up your car if you're still licensed.
You don't have to give up your pet. I like to view us as a safety net, kind of. We're there when you need us.
And that oftentimes happens as you begin to get the onset of dementia and sleep disruption and so forth, that many times for the caregivers it's incredibly difficult to deal with them because they're on a different sleep cycle.
And you yourself have said that there's research that shows caregivers die before their loved ones.
It's not unusual at all in our practice. And so, what we need people to understand is that also the service model that was available in assisted living even 5 years ago has been dramatically increased.
It has. As the government tries to get out of the nursing home business, they have licensed some assisted livings to give almost nursing home level of care.
The government cannot cut its exposure to the nursing home population by throwing out people who are sick. The only way they can cut their exposure is to reduce the number of people at the lower levels of care from going in there.
Right, and we're the perfect solution at a fraction of the cost as well.
All right, so we're going to have Director Greg pull up some pictures here because there's often perception that it's a nursing home is not the case. You did a little breaking ground here because you built a new dementia unit here.
We did, yep.
Now, I noticed that there's a cocktail there.
There is, and I'm pretty sure that was like at 11 o'clock, so yes.
Which is, you say, routinely.
Routine, yeah.
That people can live in normalcy of life.
They can.
It's obviously a beautiful style facility.
It is, yes.
And you can see out the back there. We'll get a picture of it in a moment. A beautiful, sunroom that people can actually sit in and enjoy just the same as if they were in a hotel.
Right off the dining room.
All right, and in fact, there's the reverse picture of that beautiful room there.
Yes, indeed.
Now, you said dining room. What does that mean?
Dining room. It's like a hotel, restaurant-style dining, with a menu and a lot of options for entrees and sides.
And then, of course, one of the other things that you have to address is not everybody in the place can have the same diet.
Right. In fact, a lot of people can't, and we can modify diets, and our menus are signed off by a nutritionist and a dietitian.
And some of the old style facilities, medication management was not a problem, but you have a very strong management medication process. Tell us a little
We
about it.
do. It's supervised by RNs, and we have certified medical technicians that 24/7 pass meds based on a computer system.
In the old days, if people were having trouble eating, it used to be that automatically meant a nursing home.
Right, and again, our whole object is to maintain someone's dignity, so we can manage helping someone with eating.
All right, and including the old days, it was bathrooming, meant automatically you were in a nursing home.
It's true, and again, that's not a big deal for us.
And as we said, that you have increased your service model, and now you can have occupational physical therapy covered by Medicare in your facility, which was not the case recently.
No, it wasn't, and it's 100% covered by Medicare Part A.
So we encourage families, before you throw in the towel and think that there's nothing but bad options out there, go out and explore what's actually available.
Exactly, or before you automatically think Dad needs long-term care, talk to us.
And how can they get a hold of you?
They can call me at 301-668-6030 or just stop by.
Bridget, as always, thanks for taking time to appear on the program.
Thanks, Mike.
More from Contemporary Retirement after these messages.
The Community Foundation continues to create great impact in Frederick County, thanks to generous donors. As our community evolves, so do we. While we don't have a real crystal ball that can predict the future, we are poised and ready to see things differently and help nonprofits, city and county agencies, civic groups, faith-based organizations, businesses, families, and individuals to solve problems within our community.
Albright, Crumbacker, Mal, and Itell are a full-service firm that provides elder care services, including managing incoming bills, bill payment, depositing checks, balancing bank statements, and preparing, planning, and filing personal tax returns. Put your mind at ease and call us today.
Welcome to the Making Sense feature on Contemporary Retirement. Making Sense focuses on the financial issues affecting the retirement community. With me today is Pete Alexander, a partner in the regional accounting firm of Albright, Crumbacker, Mal, and Itell, with offices in Hagerstown and Martinsburg, West Virginia. Welcome to the show, Pete.
Great to be here, Mike.
Pete, you know, we can't turn on the television without seeing the news pundits for the last 6 months yelling and screaming about the Tax Act. And so what we'd like to do is talk a little bit about probably one of the single biggest misconceptions that we deal with in our practice every day is the perception by middle-class folks that they pay estate taxes.
Yeah, the estate tax, the gift and estate tax, which are tied together, intertwined, is something that people stay up, especially our senior community. They stay up at night wondering just how much the government is going to come in and take from them the second they pass away.
And the reality of it is that the estimates were in 2017 that only about 5,000 estates in the entire United States were going to pay a federal estate tax.
Yeah, I mean, the laws have been changing. The laws have been changing for so many years. Every year they phase in, they ramp up, they ramp down. But for the last decade, we have had basically the same type of laws, which have had individuals passing away, single individuals passing away with less than $5 million, not paying any estate tax, and couples passing away with more than $10 million, not paying any federal estate tax.
And that number was how much? Zero.
Well, yeah, zero. They pay zero on that federal, okay? Depending on what states, a lot of our states.
So that tax haven, Pennsylvania, how much did you pay on $5 million?
Yeah, you paid zero. You paid, Maryland did have, there for a while, Maryland was at $1 million, but Maryland finally realized that people were panicking over the estate tax, and Maryland normalized their laws to equal the federal government, which equals West Virginia, which equals Florida, which equals Arizona. So most of the states where our people are hanging out at, they're not paying any, under the old law, they were not paying any federal estate tax. They were not paying any Maryland estate tax since Maryland changed their laws a couple years ago. And the only thing we had left was the local inheritance
And the inheritance tax in Maryland and West Virginia between parents and children is?
Zero. As long as
zero.
Parents and children. It's only when you leave outside the children does your local inheritance. Under the new tax law, they basically doubled all that. They moved the $5 million up to $10 million per a single person, and for a couple, the $10 million went to $20 million, and that's all indexed for inflation, retroactive 5 years ago. So a married couple can pass away with about $22 million, $23 million, and still not have any estate tax.
You know, and yet every day people come in my office, they're absolutely panicked that the government's going to come in and tax their estate. They got to give their house to the kids. They have to give everything away to the kids, or they're going to pay a bunch of taxes.
Yeah. Now that's not to mean estate planning should not be done. There, as you said, people want to give away assets to avoid estate tax. And there may be reasons to move assets while you're alive, but there's a lot of reasons not to move assets while you're alive, meaning that if you bought a piece of land for $20,000 and it's now worth $120,000, you sell it, you're going to have to pay tax. If your kids inherit that land, we already said there's no inheritance tax. There's no estate tax. They get that land, but they get a replenished basis. They get that land at fair market value, so they can sell it for $120,000 with no tax.
Similarly, the house, with these exemption levels, a married couple can exclude $500,000 in gain, but it's required they occupied it 2 out of the previous 5 years. Well, their children, most of them have not been occupying that house, so you give the house to the kids. Now they're going to have to pay taxes on the sale of it when the parents could have sold it with no tax.
Exactly right. So we're not saying there's no planning to be done. We're not saying you can do anything you want, but we're saying the one thing most of our viewers do not have to worry about is an estate tax issue. Now that doesn't mean that everything your heirs get is tax-free. We have talked on previous shows, if your heirs inherit IRAs or other deferred income type of events like annuities. If they inherit annuities or IRAs, they have to pay tax just like you. Those 2 scenarios, they step into your shoes, but most everything else they inherit, they not only don't have estate tax, but they can liquidate them into cash and not even have any income tax.
But oftentimes strategies as estate planning does require you pay attention to that. So you take that annuity, which has got a little tax bomb attached to it. The parents oftentimes are in a lower tax rate. It would make more sense for them to recognize that income than their children in their high earning years.
Exactly. The parents are often in a lower rate. They're often in a 0 rate. So they definitely have the ability to recognize some of that and take that burden off the table.
Pete, as always, thanks for taking time to appear on our program.
Great to be here, Mike.
Thank you from Contemporary Retirement.
Remember a more carefree time? Leave your insurance worries to us, Wright Gardner. Call or visit our website to learn how we can make insurance simple and more affordable.
These days, it seems like everything's online, and filling out claim forms and receiving and paying bills online isn't always easiest. That's why we at Quality First Insurance encourage you to just give us a call. Let us help.
Hi there, I'm Paul Sweeney with Quality First Insurance, and it's still just as simple. Our offices are open every weekday where you'll be able to call and speak to real, live people.
No detail was missed. I'm so glad that I turned to Quality First Insurance.
I've recommended Quality First Insurance to my friends who've been just as satisfied.
If you're not happy with what you're paying for Medigap, or more importantly, not happy with your service, give us a try. We're locally owned, and we take the time to provide you with the best. We are Quality First Insurance, and our mission is to provide quality products to quality people. Pick up the phone and give us a call today at 800-745-1411.